Hello.
Hello. Oh, fun. Hi.
Hi, friend.
Hi, friends. Hi, friends. Hi, all of our other friends out there that are watching this back.
Yeah.
So Tish and I are excited to be here with you today to kind of recreate the breakout session that she and I did together at Hoopla on coaching. And it's kind of one of our favorite topics. But we really do understand that, so for some of you, it might be like the hard part of the job or the part that you might not feel super comfortable or confident or you're nervous or you're wondering what to say. But we're here to tell you that, like, if you're watching this back and you're curious and you want to get better at it, then you can be a great coach. There is no secret. There is no, magic sauce to this. Anybody can be a great coach. And if you are willing to really, follow some of these tips that we give you, like, you can be great at it. And there's no mythical piece about coaching, because truly your role as a coach is just to believe in someone enough before they actually believe in themselves and have the confidence in themselves. And then help them down the path to success, help them through the steps of success. And when your actions in your daily business really align with that fundamental core business, that's when the magic happens. So you'll hear this a little bit more today. We'll talk about it, but Tish and I are very different. We have different styles. We have different. She likes visors. I like hats. You might say different things. Like, I like to say rad. She might like to say whoop. We have different mannerisms, but we do believe fundamentally in some of these very same things, similar things. So at the end of the day, you just need to be yourself, because that's what your team wants. That's what your people want. And when it comes from that authentic voice of you, anything can happen. So what we want you to leave after watching this is just this idea of the demystified idea of what coaching is, and have you a better understanding of what falls into that realm of coaching, because it's not just that 30-minute, 20-minute coaching call anymore. So think of coaching as 3 hats. We like hashtags. I like hats. She likes visors. But 3 different hats, 3 different hashtags of coaching. Number 1, hashtag be consistent. Number 2, hashtag connect often. And number 3, hashtag celebrate everything. And you'll see a little more where we get into that afterwards. So Tish, take it away. Be consistent.
Okay. There she is. Okay, for those that don't know Allison, I'm going to introduce you in case you watch this.
Yes.
Okay, so that was Allison Fuller. She's a platinum director in Southern California. She's a flippin' rock star, mother of 3, has built an incredibly ginormo business over the last 8.5 years, give or take. And Southern California, I think I mentioned that. And I had the pleasure of being introduced to Allison many, many years ago. And we started pacing together very early on, helping each other, build our businesses. We were figuring it out together. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to do it. We made a lot of mistakes along the way. But in the process, we've had a whole lot of fun. We've taken a whole lot of glam trips together. Our husbands have become great friends. We've had more laughs and cries than we can count. And I can't imagine being on this journey without her. So that is Allison Fuller.
And that is Tish Medford, who, by the way, I called your husband today to help me jump a car. So yes, Tish and I, we over the last 8 years have really built our businesses together, but we also have built our lives together. And yes, our husbands are friends. So Tish is a diamond director in Galveston, Texas. And talk about ginormo business. She's the ginormo of, within our business, but has really modeled every step of this business for not only her team, but for people like me. So I like to pick her brain, but she has 3 teenagers, one going off to college in a couple of weeks. And when we first started this, they were all little people. So now they're all big people, which is very strange. But it's been fun. You know, another perk of this business, if you're watching this and you're new, like you will make friends, best friends, life friends within Stella and Dot. So that's just another added little perk.
That's right. Okay, so back to hashtag be consistent. So what's interesting, as Alice and I have worked together all these years, we've learned a lot, even though like she mentioned, we are very different in so many ways. We are also so similar in so many ways. And we've found that while we may lead differently, there are kind of a lot of similarities that we honestly both refer to as like non-negotiables. She's got her non-negotiables, meaning without doubt, she's always going to do. I have my non-negotiables, without doubt, I'm always going to do. And I've just found that just makes, we found that so many of them were the same. So it was really fun as we were putting this training together to kind of recap and go, we're actually leading our business very differently. We just look a little different and sound a little different most days. So anyway, let's talk about my first non-negotiable. And again, I think the other thing that's really similar between both of us is we kind of look at the big picture first, and we're like, this is what we absolutely will do. These are the balls we can drop. And then, okay, now let's figure out how to accomplish those things. So, and we both also never want to reinvent the wheel. We're like, if somebody's already done it, we're all over it because we're busy people. We don't got time to reinvent wheels. So, first and foremost, glam trip. We both have earned it several times. To me, it's a non-negotiable. My people want me there and I want to be there. And it would be really hard for me to encourage others to go out and earn the glam trip if I wasn't doing it myself. So the first thing I do when each glam trip is announced is I first put together my own glam plan. I literally list out the months that we're going to, have for the incentive. I look at how much I want to sell each month. Some months are going to be more. Some months I might pop it down a little bit. I look at how many I'm going to be sponsoring each month. The beginning, always have a goal of sponsoring more because I want to be able to earn points off those new stylists the entire glam incentive period. I put a plan in place where I'm earning it early, not late. Like I don't ever want to be earning it on the last day of the month. Doesn't mean it's totally, it's still great if you earn it on the last day of the month, but that's extra pressure. Like I want to get my glam plan done so I can go help other people earn theirs. So the first thing I do is I put my plan together. Then I walk into each month saying, okay, this month my goal is stellar seller, 5,000 and to sponsor 2. Oh, this is a bigger month. I'm going to work towards 7,000, sponsor 3. Like each month I walk in knowing. And the reason that's important is so I know what my goal is for the month. Then I have to set up my style sessions, whether they're in person or online, to align with that goal. Then the minute if anything starts falling apart, I don't just go, okay, well, I'm just going to do less this month. I kind of say, oh, well, if I want to stay on plan, I've got to go replace that. So it helps me hold myself accountable. So that's step one. Then I turn around and I share my glam plan with all of my team. First, I share it with our leaders. We do a call. I walk them through every month what I'm doing, how I did it, the rhyme or reason behind it. And then I encourage anybody that's interested in doing the same. I am happy to work through it with you. So I get my leadership team involved and on board second. And then we go and put it out to the field so we can help as many people as possible with their glam plans. And then I'm leading by example. I'm working it myself. And because I'm doing it myself, it helps me keep everybody else accountable to theirs as well. So that's first and foremost. Second is focusing on team promotions every month. I kick off each month, going through my reports. I might first start with my personal gen. I go and I look at, who sold the prior month, who sold maybe 1,000, who sold maybe 1,500, who sold maybe 2,000, who could be on the verge of promoting to associate stylist if they were to bring along a team member, who could be on the verge to promoting to senior stylist, who might be on their way to star. Every month I start with a new, I call it my short list. I literally put them on a Post-it note. I've got a few Post-it notes right here.
Yes.
I've got my little Post-it notes. I put it on a Post-it note and I stick it on my big screen. And I'm looking at it all month long. It helps me keep focused on, okay, so first I make my list. Then the next thing I do is I reach out to those people. I reach out and I say, oh my gosh, congratulations. You did X in June. What an amazing month you had. You were totally on your way to associate stylist. Is that something you're interested in? If so, I'd love to help you get there. These are the perks. These are the benefits. What do you think? So I reach out to those that I think could be future associate stylists, future seniors, future stars. I find out if they're interested. A lot of times they are. Every once in a while they're not. And then from there, we put a plan together. We may set up a weekly check-in. We may set up some pacing groups. Maybe I'll do a Zoom with those that are interested. But every month, I start with a fresh new list. And I really go looking for any people that may pop up that I might not have found or might not have known about. Then I share with my leaders what I'm doing. So I do it, and then I share it. I think that's the important message I want to make sure you guys have on that one. Okay, pass it back to you.
So, adding into that, so you've got the glam plan, then you've got team promotions, and then, you've got that bucket of non-negotiables, which is just personal sales. And when you're, on that topic of like leading with authenticity, it's a lot easier to coach others to go out and sell when you're out there selling yourself. So, the non-negotiables are, stellar seller 9 out of the 12 months. And those usually align with your glam plan, what months, you're going to be doing more versus doing less. Having 4 in-home shows a month, layering in online shows into our business. We've both been doing that together, and learning as we go how to operate those. I love seeing my name in my team reports as leading from the front. If I'm not in the top 10 in sales on my team on any given month, it kind of feels weird. I'm a little competitive that way. So but I just know that I'm a better coach because I'm out there doing that, and I can share with people the things that I'm doing. Because if I'm in the trenches, the people that want more out of their business will rise and join you and duplicate what you're doing. So you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just sharing what it is that I'm doing with the people that want to go out and do the same. And there's nothing odd or weird, or I don't feel, there's no icky feeling as their coach, because I'm in there doing it too. Like, I've been told no, I've been ignored, I've had objections, I've had someone, all sorts of go silent. I've had a hostess that never called me back. I've had it all. We've experienced it all. But leading from the front in personal selling is part of it as well.
And you do it so beautifully and have your entire career, Allison, and that's why your team loves you so much. So let's talk sponsoring. It's a hot button for me, and I can proudly say for many years I have been a top sponsor, not only on my team, but some years even within the company. And I think what's most important about that is if you do want to grow your business and you want to grow your team, you've got to personally be leading that charge, and then you're going to be sharing everything that you're doing in order to help your team do the same, because you can grow a lot faster if you've got people underneath you also wanting to build and grow. So my goal is to sponsor 2 each month at least. Some months I sponsor more, some months I may sponsor less, but I always have a goal, and I walk into every month of sponsoring at least 2 new people. Then, it's easy to have a goal. The second step is then putting that into action. So what do I do to put that into action? I have a goal of having 4 style sessions each month that are hopefully with a new network. So that's a new hostess, maybe in a new area, or in a new suburb, or a new state, or if I'm doing online, with a new group that I haven't worked a show with before, what have you. And once I have those style sessions, the reason I want new is that's going to get me in front of a lot of new people. So I've got the 4 new shows and 4 new networks. Then take that to the next step. I want to make sure I'm following the steps and talking to the hostess, as well as at least 2 people from that style session. So I'm following these 3 simple steps to sponsoring with the hostess. I'm following the 3 simple steps to sponsoring the guests. I'm I'm watching the trainings. I'm reminding myself of those 3 simple steps that you can find in our New Stylist magazine. You can find them, we have all sorts of great trainings online and our podcast on how to sponsor, but I hold myself accountable. Then at the end of those style sessions, I remind myself, like, it's not stopping here. Like, for me to really make the most of the style session, I've got to do that follow-up because I do want to sponsor. And as I'm doing this, I then, because it's the first thing I'm thinking about, not the last thing I'm thinking about personally, I then am constantly relaying that to my team. I have, we'll talk more about this later. So I'll actually come back to that later. But basically, it's the first thing I think about, not the last. I have a goal each month. I'm making sure I'm following the simple steps. I'm not overcomplicating it. I'm not like, poof, where are they going to come from? I'm like, I'm just going to follow the steps. And if I do that, if I talk to at least 3 people from every show, my hostess and my 2 customers, or at least 2 customers, that's 12 I'm talking to every single, from every single side or every month. And from those 12, I'm at least going to sponsor 1. And then when you layer in maybe a pop-up or 2, when I layer in maybe an MSD that I've done or a couple of extra online sessions, and I, being out and about and sharing on the go and opening up those conversations while I go, I can easily hit those goals that I've got to hold myself accountable to. So that is sponsoring. Think back to you.
Doing it consistently.
Yes.
So, runway to reality, because, consistency in your business, reality is fueled by consistency in your home life. And I'm sure there's like nobody sitting around just eating bonbons and like not doing anything all day. Like, we're all busy. The world is busy. We're all busy. And if you're layering this in on top of a full-time job, if you're layering this in on top of a family, if you're layering this in on top of a family and a full-time job, if you're layering, whatever it is, everybody is busy. But I will tell you that with planning, you can fit this into your life. When I first started, I had a full-time job. I had 2 little kids, and it just took some, planning to fit it into the week. And so, consistency in your home life is just as important, because you don't want like your husband hating the fact that you're doing this business, or your kids feeling neglected. And you definitely don't want to have, that feeling of like you're dropping balls everywhere. So a few things that I'm really super passionate about is, the first one is just Sunday planning. Like, I love taking the time on Sundays to really figure out, I call it the matrix. It really kind of is a matrix some weeks. So I'm going to grab this. But what helps me plot it all out is this weekly planner. It's by Erin Condren, erinCondren.com. But it's cute. You can customize it. Every Sunday, I sit down and I put everything family related. Whoever is going anywhere, it's on that weekly planner, and it's by day. And that also allows me to figure out carpools. It allows me to figure out what nights we're eating in, what nights we're eating out, all of that. Kind of like the family week. Who's traveling where? When does mom have trunk shows? Everything for myself, my husband, and the 3 kids go on that calendar. And when I don't do it, my family is so used to it now. They're like, Mom, where's the schedule? Like, I don't know where I'm going. It helps everybody. Everybody feels a sense of calm when that is done, and it's visual, and it's in one place where they can reference. And that just takes time. Then I schedule in regular exercise. Like, mommy needs to exercise. Mommy isn't very happy when mommy doesn't exercise. It's important to me. So once I kind of figure out where everybody needs to be, and then I figure out, okay, when am I going to, I do hot yoga, like what classes can I get to based on my work schedule? Like, it all goes in one place. And that sort of consistency of planning it all out on a weekly basis really helps me to identify those specific working hours, so that I can choose my interruptions. So if I want to work out and I want to get my business done, like things like having lunch with friends 3 out of the 5 days out of the week, not going to align. So I will plan it out and be like, okay, well, I can have lunch maybe Friday of this week, but I'm not going to commit to something on Tuesday and Wednesday and then want to go have lunch on Friday. So really planning it out and mapping out, choosing your interruptions. will build consistency in your business because you've got your home life and your personal life merged together. If you work in an office and you work a full-time job, what this might look like is the night before, like mapping out who you're going to contact the next day, picking the days of the week that you're going to work during the lunch hour, picking the days of the week that maybe you stay at the office an extra hour or sit in your car for an extra hour to work your business. It can be worked around a full-time job. It just takes planning and those buckets of time. Coordinate with your hubby to take the kids out on the weekend so you have a block of time. Whatever that is, just being consistent about scheduling it and then taking that action consistently.
I think what's so important about that, Allison, and you have done this so beautifully, is it allows you to then go into your week leading very calmly. And you're, there's not this like craziness, like where you're feeling out of control. And when you feel out of control, your team feels that energy and they feel a little out of control. You are calm and you've got a plan. And I mean, it's probably a little bit of like it's probably as much about, for me, I know when I do that, I'm like, it's cathartic. Like I feel like I've walked through it and now I'm ready. I mean, it's like my meditation to then be ready for the week, which leads to how you can then do our final hashtag be consistent. And that is to coach consistently. And if you're watching this, you're interested in leadership and growing and building. And I don't want you to overcomplicate coaching consistently in your head. Honestly, I want you to honestly focus more on, I'm going to personally hold myself accountable to do all the things that Tysh and Allison have been talking about. And when I'm personally, holding myself accountable from the selling perspective, from the sponsoring perspective, you're then very authentic and it makes it very simple to then go share and be coaching and connecting and doing this on a very consistent basis. And I'll again mention to you like big picture, how we look at the big picture. So, let's say my sponsoring numbers are down 1 year. Like you might say, oh, not a big deal. So you've got this ginormo team, so who cares? How does it hurt you that much if your sponsoring numbers are down? Well, 2 years ago, I took my eye off sponsoring. I had a lot of other focuses. I was distracted with lots of people going towards big promotions and things like that. So I took my eye off sponsoring. And in the process, this is what happened. Because I took my eye off sponsoring, kind of convinced myself I didn't really have time for it. There were bigger fish to fry. As a result, because I wasn't personally doing it, I stopped talking about it. And as a result, because I stopped talking about it and coaching on it, our team slowed down their sponsoring significantly. So what I personally was or was not doing had a direct impact on our team, what they were not doing. And it, I didn't see it immediately, but several months down the road, I saw the effects of that. So guess what I did? I came to my team and I said, I take full responsibility for this. This is what last year looked like for me. My sponsoring numbers were down by X amount. And as a result, I know because I took the eye off of it, I stopped talking about it as much as you guys. And if you feel like your sponsoring numbers have been down and you're frustrated, like be frustrated at me because it was, I took my eye off the prize and I take full responsibility for that. But we are changing that today moving forward. So and then I started sharing with them, what am I doing? How am I going to change that? I'm not looking backwards. I'm looking forward. If anybody wants to join me, let's do this together. And we turn that ship around. So again, I look at all of these things through that leader lens. And what's the big picture result if you choose to not meet some of those non-negotiables, which leads me into the next one, which is hashtag connect often. And what, again, with connecting often, again, why it's non-negotiable for Allison and I mean, there's many ways to be connected. We know that not connecting is not an option. Is not an option, excuse me. It doesn't have to look like the traditional old school way of coaching, which was like, here's the 5 steps to coaching and have your coaching binder and here's a divider for each person and all those things. Like I've done all that, but and for some that may still be what works for them. But I feel like today coaching looks and feels so different. There are so many ways you can do it. And so now we're going to kind of talk through that.
Yeah. Awesome. So, the second hat of coaching is connection, and, connect often with your people. And because not being connected really isn't an option. If you want your team to feel like you are an authentic leader. And like Tysh was saying, connection comes in lots of different ways, shapes, and forms now. And it's not just that coaching binder, scheduled call anymore. So the first step, though, is just being prepared and having that list of who you are and who you're engaging with. So that might be a list of the Facebook groups that your team participates in. It might be a list of the Facebook Messenger groups that you're participating in, the text groups that you're participating in, the Post-it notes of the girls that are going for goals, the girls that you do want to stay connected to, the girls that are in Jumpstart that you're going to have a regular connection with. But having that reminder front and center does keep you sane, because it is hard. And we hear it all the time, you're so busy. Well, again, we're all busy, but we have a method to our madness. We don't just try to keep it all up in here. We have the list and the planning that goes into it to make sure that we're connecting with lots of different people in different stages of the business. But again, we love doing it, and we both really do passionately feel like not being connected is really not an option. So being prepared and having a list of those people. Then the next is having it be something that you enjoy doing. So personally for me, I know some people love Voxer. For me, it's another step, but I love voice texting on just my phone. So having images ready and messages that you can send to people. I have a folder on my phone of inspirational quotes. Some of them are funny, some of them are sappy, some of them are pretty, some of them are a little gangster, whatever it is, have it be you and have it be your voice, so that you're authentically connecting with people, whether it's, via text, via Messenger, via voice text, via Zoom calls, or via a good old fashioned phone call. Tysh.
Okay.
Over to you.
Which leads to the good old fashioned phone call. This is the thing. I am a big believer in all the things Allison just talked about. I do all of that, but she and I both have probably not promoted a star without being on the phone with them a lot during that time frame that they were really building and working towards star. So all of these things don't take the place of that one-on-one connection over the phone. Sometimes it's going to be more often. Depending on what they're doing, it may be less often, but it's definitely not a replacement. Because what happens when you're on the phone with them, you're actually building a relationship. You are becoming, and you're not even going to, I think my goal with each of my team members that I am working with closely and I'm on the phone with, it's not to be their coach and have a coaching relationship. I actually take the coach hat off and I put the friend hat on. I am going to, become a good friend of theirs, because truly I know that when there's a friendship there, that's when the barriers get let down. And, I'm going to help them, or we're going to help each other through teenager challenges, through scheduling, obstacles that you're working through. Maybe you're trying to figure out how to put meals on the table for your family when you're going out for style sessions. Maybe you all of a sudden have decided you want to drop 5 pounds, and maybe recently I've done that. I've got an idea there. I mean, you name it, we're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about all of it. And so what I love about that phone conversation is, while the other stuff is so important and I do all those things, don't kid yourself that if you really want to build leaders, it's going to take doing some of that on the phone. And once that friendship is there, man, you've got a lifer. You've got someone that is going to, they can't imagine not being a part of Stella Dot and not being a part of the community and not being there, because they love being with you. And so that's why I think the one-on-one is so important. And then, as Allison mentioned, all those other things. I love all the emojis. I love sharing, fun posts on people's Facebook pages. I think that you can't celebrate enough. If someone has done something, I celebrate on their personal page. I'll celebrate on our team page. I may celebrate on the Style Boss page. I may celebrate on the Stella Dot leader page. Like, I just think more is more and better with those regards. I do think it's important to celebrate the big as well as the small. And I also think it's important that, sometimes those big celebrations may not always be public. I mean, I know in our tribe, and I know within Team Charming as well with Allison, you've got people that are always in the limelight. Like, they're always in the limelight. Well, you know what? We're conscientious of that. And maybe they don't need to, maybe if we had them in the limelight every single day, that would make others feel that they're never going to be able to do what they're doing. So maybe some of the celebration we're doing with them is privately. Maybe some of it's via text. Maybe some of it's via email, copying their upline or copying, a regional or something like that. So I think you can celebrate a lot of different ways. I love celebrating on Facebook, and I do a lot of that, but I also celebrate other ways. Handwritten notes. I send promotion congratulatory notes out every single month without fail. Anybody that promotes star and above anywhere in our team gets a handwritten note from me. If you are a leader with a smaller team, for years I was doing associate stylist, senior stylist. And if it's someone I have personally promoted to associate or senior, you bet they're getting a little handwritten note from me without fail. You know how good it feels to open that. I mean, I'm excited if someone sends me a note in the mail. So I know it means the world when someone else has received something from me. So I do, I look at the top 3 sellers each month, and I send a handwritten note to them. People that were top in sponsoring. Maybe you've just had a team that started sponsoring. When someone sponsors for the first time, you could send them a handwritten note. Let's talk about the small celebrations. If you've got a budding team and you're trying to build energy and excitement, celebrate those that hit Jumpstart. Celebrate someone for booking their first show. Celebrate someone who, got out of their comfort zone and had a sponsoring conversation. Look for the small things that you could celebrate. The big things are going to be easy. Look for the small things. As you do that, you're going to build a team culture that is on fire and all about celebration and community and friendship. And it's contagious. The last thing I'll say, even though we're in a very virtual world, in-person connection is so important. Having a meetup in your area, if you are building, do it consistently, do it monthly, do it as often as you can. Getting together for coffee, having that monthly meetup, coming together, quarterly to do a boot camp on a larger group, with the other leaders in your area. It could be in your living room. It could be in a coffee shop. Like when we were starting, it was all very small. And as we've grown, we've made it bigger. But the reality is, Allison and I have been connecting with our local people from the get-go. And sometimes it was us and one other person. And then maybe the next month it was 4. And then maybe the next month it was 6. And then maybe sometimes it might be us and one other person again. But we were doing it when we really didn't know what to do. We just knew that we had fun when we connected with with our team members that were growing with us. And together we were better together, and we were going to figure it out together. So pass it back to you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, just keep it fun. We hear time and time again that a woman might join Stella Dot for the jewelry, but they really do stay for the connection. They stay for the fun. They stay for the memories. They stay for the people that have become life friends. And when you create that culture on your team of fun and connection, it is really contagious. And but also make it be you. So with my team, Team Charming, we like the word badass. I like the word badass. We have certain team hashtags that we love. We have certain team emojis that we love. Keeping it fun. People just fundamentally need more happy in their life. They do. The world doesn't have enough of it in it. And your team is watching you. They're learning from you. They're learning by being around. They're learning your little kids. Has your kid ever said to you, Mommy, you seem off today? Well, chances are you probably were off. You probably weren't being, and your team can sense that. So, keeping it fun and authentic to your voice when you do connect. So 2 things, because of the world that, the culture of Stella and Dot, you might be watching other leaders doing things, or you might see something else posted on another page. But like, if it fundamentally doesn't sound like something you would say to another person, like, then you probably shouldn't be posting that. Speak in your own voice with your own people, because that's your people. Your people want that. And just remember that, if you want to go fast, like, you can go alone, but if you want to go far, doing it together is just a better way to go. So bring your people along, connect with them. So that's connect often. So our last one that we've touched on, because it kind of does go along with the first two, is celebrate everything. Everything. So I love the analogy of coaching as, to teaching or watching or being a part of a baby learning how to walk. Okay. So picture me this, like, you got the baby, and you might not have kids yourself, but you've seen this happen. Just think back, a niece or a friend. So you got the baby that's here, that's like wobbly and trying to figure out those first few steps. And the adult, the parent, the person that's older, doesn't stand on the opposite side of the room saying, come over here, walk to me. No, that person is standing right next to the baby. And the baby is going to take like one or two wobbly steps. And that human is going to celebrate and clap and freak out and get excited. And the baby's going to smile. And then they're going to want to do it some more. And that's really what coaching is. It's giving your team small bite-sized steps for this business to go do. And then when they do it, you freak out and you get really excited because they've succeeded. That's what success looks like. Standing on the other side of the room just makes it, you don't get to celebrate all those little wins. So celebrate everything. So whether your team is big or small, you're going to celebrate things like, if you have a small team, like your small star team might look like celebrating somebody that booked their first strength show, that style session. So much. Book their first style session. Book their first style session at a style session. Book their first online style session. Sponsored their first stylist. Got crazy and got out of her comfort zone and talked to somebody on her chicken list. Little things that can be celebrated. It doesn't, but of course then you're also going to celebrate the incentives. Right now, celebrating the people on your team that have earned the selfie light, that have earned Jumpstart, that earned land, that earned the portfolio, whatever it is, celebrating those bigger things, but don't forget to celebrate the smaller things. Those smaller baby steps can be celebrated too.
Love that. And again, going along the celebration, and a few things that I mentioned earlier, handwritten notes, obviously emails, as well as a text message, a Facebook message, sharing on social media, all the various places, all those things fill people's cups and it helps them build. When I've posted on a team member's personal page, she'll have friends that I've had so many times someone's come back and said, oh my gosh, when you posted that, so-and-so commented, and then I reached out and said, thanks so much. And that led to us booking a show, or that led to she's joining my team, or what have you. So it can really help support your budding stylist continue to grow their business. As Allison mentioned, remembering to celebrate the brand ambassadors. I remember years ago, Jessica mentioned to me that, our brand ambassadors, a brand ambassador is basically someone that is here because of the community. They love being a part of it. They may sell on occasion. Maybe on occasion they're qualified. Maybe a couple times a year they do a style session. But for the most part, they're just here because they love the community. They love the accessories. It's not about the income for them. It's not about them going out and doing a big business. But those people make up 20% of your team and 20% of your income. So I always want to make sure that our brand ambassadors, our style insiders, that they feel as welcomed and as loved as the person that's the rock star, because they are. Because without them, we wouldn't be sharing all the joy and continuing to, make the world a happier place. And they're a happier person as a result of being a part of our tribe. And I'm happier because I think I've possibly helped change somebody's life and help them lead a more joyful, happy life. So making sure you celebrate the big and the small in various ways, obviously back to the consistently month after month, and with a sense of urgency. When a month ends, I think this is a big point to make. When a month ends, you know, for a leader, like at the end of June, let's say, you might be exhausted because you had a big month, you were working towards earning this or that. Maybe you had someone going for big promotions or whatever. And after the day's over, after the month's over, you might think, oh, I need to like take a break for a week. Your month isn't over yet. Your month is over after you've then turned around and celebrated your team. You want to go celebrate those that accomplished what they were working to accomplish in June. You power through that, because not that you power through it in the middle of the night. I'm not suggesting that, but you power through it your first few days of the month. And then if you want to take a nap for a couple days, nap away. But you want to do it while it is important to them, while it means something to them. Celebrating someone earning glam 2 weeks after they earned it, at that point, they've lost their excitement. It doesn't mean as much. So those are just some things that I think can really go a long way, and you're doing consistently through celebration.
And then the last one is, team incentives. And, we get asked a lot, and we wonder a lot, like, should I be doing an incentive? What sort of incentive? And kind of Tysh and I share the same philosophy on team incentives. It's just another way to bring fun and another way to celebrate somebody that's gone out and taken action. So it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be like a month-long big ordeal. Sometimes we do ones like that because they seem fun to us. And they fit our personalities and what the team needs at that time. But really, the fun little flash incentives that we do are to keep that energy fun and high, but also to be able to then celebrate someone that goes and does it. So, it's just as important for somebody to be recognized for going and reaching out to 3 people about the Facebook, opportunity event or your team online MSD. Like, good for them. They've gone out and done something, and those little flash incentives help just give you another chance to spotlight somebody and spread that love to them for going out and taking action. So we might, at the beginning of the month, do something on booking. We might do something around sponsoring. We might do something about reach out. We might do something about a certain level of sales. There really is, they just add more fun, and they're another reason to celebrate somebody. So things like, places like Home Goods and the Target dollar bin have really fun, cute things now. And there's just like cute little gifts everywhere. So it doesn't have to be expensive. I have a whole box of them because I love buying them, because when I see them, like, oh, that would be fun to do something with. I don't know what it is. To just sprinkle in some fun and another reason to then go out and celebrate somebody.
And I found when you do that, like, it fills my cup. It's like Christmas. It's better to give than it is to receive. I have more fun giving to others because I know the joy that it's going to bring than receiving often. So anyway, and I'm just going to end that on back to the more, just like consistency. The more consistent you are, the more consistent you're going to be. The more celebratory you are, the more celebratory your community is going to be. As Allison mentioned, they're watching you. When they see you celebrating those that have earned that selfie light, you're going to watch team members below you start celebrating their team members that have earned their selfie light. And it just spreads like wildfire. I find that it builds a stronger community. The stronger your community and your team can be, the longer lasting it's going to be. There's no question, because your goal is you, and I could name so many teams all across the country that, like, when I go to Hoopla, I see it. Like, I see the specialness that team has. And you want to have a tribe of people that can't imagine not being there together. And they're all there for various reasons, and they're going to help each other through life and the ups and the downs and raising children and all the things that come along with life, a lot of good and some bad. And they're going to be there together. So, Allison, I'm going to pass it back to you.
So you are passing it back to me? Okay. So the kind of the final thought is nothing that we've laid out here is hard or heavy. And that's who you are for the person. So if we go back to how we started, like, when you are being a coach, and if you can learn to be consistent, connect often and celebrate everything, and truly just believe in somebody before they believe enough in themselves, That's being a coach. And when you do it in a way that's authentic and genuine to you, people are attracted to that. You know, it's not about, it's that getting a sense. Some people join because they want the paycheck. Most people stay because they feel awesome in our community. And you're going to fill people's cups and help them to feel awesome by being you. And that's what your team wants and needs, always. So we have one last little thought on that. And so again, Tysh and I like to say badass. She likes to say good vibes. I like trucker hats. She hates trucker hats. I make her wear them. So just, yeah, put on the side. I like good vibes too. I have one of those because I'm just kind of all things trucker. But, you know, make it fun. Be you. Bring yourself to, you know, to this coaching part of our business, and all good things can come out of it.
And I'll just say, again, I think that it's so, I'm going to change my view here so I can see. Okay. It's so important to just kind of remind yourself that I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to learn along the way. We get wiser as we move forward. And if you just hold yourself accountable for what are my non-negotiables, what am I going to, you know, who's on my short list? What are the 3 things that I'm going to commit to staying on top of? And then you just walk into each week leading with authenticity and with calmness and with curiosity and truly being there, because your goal is to help others go out and reach and do what they want to do. And if you just keep that top of mind and do it in a fun way, week after week after week, you are going to hit all your dreams, all your goals. So is everybody else. And you're going to build a career that is going to be something you never imagined possible. So that's it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Allison. Miss you.
Thank you, Tish.
Bye.
Bye.